Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have a Copic colored gnome card to share with you. So let's jump right in. So a little bit of background on this card. You're not going to see me stamp anything because a friend of mine, his name is Abner, actually drew this image for me to color. So you can't purchase it or anything, but he reached out to me and asked if I wanted to color some of his artwork. And of course, I jumped at the opportunity. He's an amazing artist. So I have a link down in the description below to go to his Instagram page if you want to check out his artwork. And then I printed it out on Neenah 80-pound cardstock. And then I also printed a mask with Inkadinkado masking paper. And I trimmed that out, and I have a mask on top of all of the images because you can see that I am going to blend in the background sky, which I kind of thought the sun would be behind the clouds. So that was kind of my thought there. And then I didn't share this footage. This footage is a bit older. This card I made a while ago, and I didn't end up sharing it because when I showed Abner the colors that I had chosen, he was a little apprehensive about the pink, which is fair. I think when we create our own art, we kind of see it a certain way. So when somebody else gets their hands on it and kind of does different things with it, it's almost like a little bit of a shock. And I was worried that he didn't like it. So then I was a little apprehensive with sharing it, but I spoke with him even after that, and he didn't say that it was a poor color job or anything. I was a little worried about sharing it. But honestly, I think that it deserves to be shared. I think that it turned out phenomenal. I love his artwork. I think it's stunning. And I just had a blast coloring it. So I did decide to share this with you guys regardless. And I think it's fitting. I chose a Bon Voyage sentiments stamp because I feel like this gnome is on his travels. You could always got his backpack and he's got his roll and he's going places. So I thought that it was really fitting to share with you guys because tomorrow, this is going up on Monday the 23rd, which you'd know because it is the 23rd today as this is going up. But Tuesday we head out to on our little vacation. So I really thought this would be a fun card to kind of share with you guys, just because I thought that it was really fitting for the circumstance. And because honestly, this artwork is phenomenal and I really wanted to just share how amazing Abner's art is. So I really thought that it would be kind of a fun card to share with you. So this is all Copic colored because it is printed with my inkjet printer. I have a Pixma Pro 100. I have not figured out how to watercolor anything when I print it yet, so I am a little bit careful with how I color these. And luckily, you can color with Copics on an inkjet printer. It doesn't smear the lines. At least I haven't had any issues with that. So I really have been enjoying Copic coloring on digital images. So of course this technique, like these techniques would work with any image that was purchased, like any digital image would work for this. You also can, if you have like a cutting machine, like I have a Cricut, you can cut out your images with the Cricut because it's an SVG file generally. So I won't go into huge details about that, but that is an option for people who really want to use like a die cutting option. You can cut these images out if you have a cutting machine like a Cricut when they are SVG files. So let's get into the actual coloring here. I will, and I'm sorry my head kind of gets in the way a little bit. I zoomed in the frame and then my head pops in the bottom corner a little bit there. So sorry about that. I'm going to go through all of the colors that I used. Everything I used is always linked and listed down below, and I do try to show the caps on screen. So I'll go through all the colors I used for the certain images, and then I kind of thought I would just answer a couple of questions because there's not a lot to say because it is all Copic coloring. So for the colors, for his beard and the rocks, I used N1, N3, and N5. Those are neutral gray colors. And then for the stick, the roll, and the boots, which was the brown shades I used, those were E25, E27, E29, and E57. I am listing these lightest to darkest as well, just so you're aware. And then for the flowers, tunics, and goggles, I used RV11, R83, and RV34. And then for the grass, the leaves, and which is what I'm currently working on, and I add a little bit of this green into his tunic again. I used YG07, G14, and G05. Now I have had questions before as to why I don't list the color name of the Copic marker that I'm using. And that's because the color name, most businesses don't list Copic colors by their color name. So when you're looking for them, like if you wanted to search for a certain color, you wouldn't search for it by its Copic color name. You would search for it by its number. Also, the numbering system is how you know if a color is going to blend together or not. So I find it a lot easier to go by the number rather than the color name, although I have had that question several times. But that is why. And of course, I mean, the letter always stands for what it is. So if it's an E, it's an earth tone. So usually your browns fall in there, right? Like, and if it's an RV, that's red violet, R is red, so it kind of tells you what family it belongs to as well. So it kind of gives you an idea where to look for it. And then a few more colors here. I used E50, E21, and E33 for the mushroom, the nose, and the belt. And then I used YR21 and Y17 for the mushrooms, like the yellow areas, because those are yellows. One's a yellow red, which would be closer to an orange, but those are the yellow shades. And then for the red shades, I brought in R29 and R39. And then we get into the sky, which was a bit interesting for me. I wasn't totally sure what I wanted to do with that, but I do end up kind of doing an outlined effect. You'll see it here once I get to the blues, but I haven't quite got there yet. So I used B00, B12, B14, and B04 for this sky. And then his hat and gloves were the last things that I colored, and I brought in warm grays for that. I really wanted them to be neutral, but not be the same neutral grays that I had already used because I wanted some difference in the colors. So I used W1, W3, and W5. And that's all the Copic colors I used. I promise that they will be linked and listed down below if you're interested in anything that I use. And then I do try to show them on the screen there as I'm actually using it to color. And sometimes I use the broad nib for certain areas, depending on if it's an original Copic marker or if it's a sketch Copic marker, because I do own a few of both. I actually own some Chow as well. And then I kind of just jump between them. But here you can kind of see, this is kind of what I was thinking to do with the clouds. And I kind of ended up just giving them mostly a shade on the edge of the cloud. And I realized here that I actually colored his backpack blue. So I will go in and fix that once I hit the red markers. But at this stage, I was like, oh yeah, that's a part of the clouds. It's not. It's his backpack. But it's okay. I will fix it. It doesn't really matter at this stage. This is where I realized it though. And I was like, oh, good job there. Anyway, I wanted to answer a couple of questions that I had gotten recently. So for those of you who watched my last studio vlog, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I have not responded to the comments yet, but I will, I promise. But I did see a few people mention that I could have things cut, like at Staples or that kind of thing. And I am aware of that. And I'm not sure if you are referring to the laminate sheets or if you're referring to the stickers themselves. But the only reason there's a few reasons that I'm choosing to do it myself. I'm doing it myself because I get control over more things that way. And see, this is where I had to color over the blue because I realized that was actually a piece of the backpack. One of the reasons is because I want the control. That means that I can come home and I can do it after work or around whenever, if someone ordered something, that kind of thing. Also, the laminating sheets have to be cut to a certain size, and that's based on what size the bounding box is around the image that you're cutting. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Cricut creates a scan box, which is the black line you would have seen around the images. And it can't go over that because then it struggles to read the lines. And the bounding box is a different size based on how many stickers you're cutting and where they are on your sheet. So not every sticker set would then use the same sized bounding box. So you would need your laminate sheets to be cut to different areas. So that wouldn't really work for that. But alternatively, also, the border that's around the stickers I've created. So each sticker gets a different size of border depending on, what I'm feeling, what I like. I mean, this one has a chunkier border just because I loved it with that chunky. I love the chunkiness of the stickers. It just makes me happy and I like it. But, you know, alternatively, if you wanted a thinner border or, you know, that kind of thing, you actually create that. There's an option to do it within Cricut, which I was playing with for these. Or alternatively, there's other ways to do it. You could do it in Photoshop, or you could draw it in Procreate, whatever you want to do there. But so that's kind of why I'm choosing to do it myself as opposed to getting them professionally cut by somebody else. I know that that would kind of negate some of the error probably, but I won't learn if I don't do it myself. So I really am kind of trying to do them myself so that I can, you know, get better and learn what fits and what doesn't, that kind of stuff. So I did bring in my mini Misti and I stamped down a sentiment onto the card there. And then I'm going to adhere it down to a black mat because you guys know I love a black mat. I've always loved a black mat. It just makes the colors pop. And then I'm going to also adhere it to an A-sized 2 card base. And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of Glossy Accents and put it just on those glasses or goggles that he has on his head there. I love how this card turned out. I would really love to know what you guys think of it. It is a bit of a different card because mostly it's kind of a practice in Copic coloring and choosing colors that work well together. But I think it turned out really, really, really cool. And of course you could, you know, use your Copic markers to color any image that is larger, right? Really, this is really just having a lot of fun coloring an image. So I really enjoyed this card. I still have it. You're going to see here in a second when I hold it up at the end to show you how it turned out, that it's actually the nails I have currently. So you're going to be able to tell that this is filmed at 2 very different times. But I still really wanted to share this with you because I think that it turned out really cute, and I really want to showcase this card and have it be seen. So I think that it turned out really pretty, and I think that it looks really neat, and I just really wanted to kind of share it. So here I'm going to hold it up at the end here, and you just get a good look at all the fun colors. I love how it turned out. I'd love to know what you guys think, because I know it's not a lot of technique necessarily. It's just mostly some coloring, but I just thought it'd be kind of fun for you guys to check out and let me know what you think. So that is what I have for you guys today. I will have new card every Monday and Thursday, so make sure you come back and check out other videos in the future. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and I hope you'll consider subscribing. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.